Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan C.P. Steele, and I will be your nerd today. And every other day that you watch my little YouTube show here. So let's see how we always get into our episodes with the week in Bryan. And honestly, this week has been good. I mean, it's been solid, a lot of good work stuff, but I mean, nothing really, super crazy, jumps out and says, last week I had all the good vague news. Well, it's a lot of the same good vague news. A lot of good stuff moving forward. I did some very cool stuff for the Warzone rule set that has been sent off lovingly to the playtesters. Made a significant leap forward in the Shadowrun novel, moving toward where things get into the meat of the matter. Super excited for people to get to read those. I threw in a couple of Easter eggs for people who know me, some gamer Easter eggs, so that'll be kind of cool. But also, speaking of Easter eggs, which it's because the people involved are the Easter egg, whatever. Two of my friends just announced this morning that they are, two of my industry friends and actually gamer friends and just friends, they announced that they are getting married. So congratulations to Dee Dee and Justice. I love you guys very much, and sad that you're moving away. So bittersweet news that they're moving across country, but happy news that they are going to go ahead and finally tie the knot and make it all official and stuff. So again, bittersweet that they're leaving, but this is going to sound weird because of the stupid quarantine thing. For the most part, for almost at this point, 6 months, 8 months, we've been like digital friends anyway, so a lot of the same stuff that we're doing now we're just going to do with a little bit of an adjustment based on time zones. Woo. Let's see what else aside from that. Getting a lot of painting stuff out of the way as I look over at the hobby rig, getting a couple of commissions done. Got contacted for some potential commissions from some clients. Doing a little work on my Necrons, as you do, including adding some new things. I look forward to being able to do a super cool review of the Codex when it comes out. In October. I'm actually trying to see if I can't get an advanced copy to review, but I don't know whether or not my buddy at Games Workshop will be able to swing that or not. It'd be cool, but I can't promise anything. It would be awesome to be able to do a review, an early review or something like that of the book. But alas, I can't just wave my magic fingers and make it happen. Let's see what else. I've been playing a lot of video games when my brain's not sucked in here in the studio. Trying to get. I'm doing a really cool series on TikTok right now, where I'm sculpting a miniature from scratch. It's a series of steps along the way to try and help somebody if they've ever wanted to do it, or if they just were interested in the process. Hopefully that'll build me up to enough followers on that platform to eventually do lives there. Not that I'll be like giving away information there that I won't save up for my show, obviously. But it is something that it's a cool platform, and I think that as we move forward with some of the other Ursa's Den Productions, which is the name of my freelance company. I don't know if I've actually mentioned that. Anyone who's got an email from me has noticed that it comes from Bryan at ursasden.com. Ursa's Den has been my business license since 2002 or 2003. Basically, that's the name that I do all of my gaming business under. and it in American tax law, it gives me a lot of options and things. But I've never managed to put out a product completely of my own. It's always been through another publisher or through another game designer or something like that, or helped out with another person's product. And so it sounds like later this year, hopefully, if all goes well, around November, because I would love to be able to get it out before Christmas, is my first DM's Guild PDF package thing will be an official Ursa's Den publication through the DM's Guild. So that'll be cool. I'm excited. I'm excited not only to be able to get that stuff out and have you guys get to see it and get some feedback, but as the playtesters have started sending feedback this way from what I have written, they're turning into, like, it's really shaping into something that I'm actually very proud of. So hopefully we'll be able to put up a link or put up a picture and go check this out, and have everybody go out and download it for a couple of bucks, and bring some of the Bryan Steele madness to your table, and in one instance, directly madness. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, just other than just regular work stuff, it's been kind of a quiet week. I did get a very cool product that I was going to show you guys. I was going to show you it in progress, or in how it works. Except, as you'll note in a moment, I can't yet. So I backed a Kickstarter a while back for Drop Tops, and Drop Tops, these adorable little kind of rubberized plastic with a very tightly fit, squeezy top. These are designed specifically to fit over the. You take the top part of the lid off of the Citadel paint pots from Games Workshop, which are notoriously prone to spilling, getting that nasty paint skin on the top, curling the tips of your brushes. They're just basically bad. And I don't know why Games Workshop uses them unless they've basically got stock in that particular type of paint pot patent. But a company designed these specifically to fit. You take the lid part off and it fits onto those paint pots, and because these are squishy at the top, as I try to show you, they're squishy. You can basically, when you turn the paint pot over so it gets down into this bell, if you've got that open, you can give them a couple of little squishes, and you've turned those Citadel paint pots into paint droppers. And then they're washable and reusable and whatnot. So I got a collection of 5. Can I count right? Yeah, 5. And I was going to show you guys how they worked and the fact that these are super cool. Except I looked through my paint sets, and currently the only Games Workshop style paint pots that I have are washes, and these holes are too big to use for washes. It would just pour out all over everywhere. So what I'm gonna do before the next hobby day, before the next time we do hobby rig stuff, I am going to go and find a couple of colors on the Citadel shelf that normally I would get from Vallejo or something like that, and we're gonna give these guys a try. We're gonna pop them on those paint pots, make it happen. But yeah, so these are cool. It was a Kickstarter last year, I think, 2019, and it was a very neat idea. And the execution on it again, they're very simple. They're just this rubberized plastic. The little gasket thing is fit specifically with that same kind of lip. It's a little bigger than the paint pot normally is, so it'll snap down on top of it. I'm psyched. I just got to figure out what colors I want to give it a try with, and then I will show you firsthand how cool they are. Aside from that, the big thing that happened last week, and I have a funny story attached to it, is my birthday present to myself was I opened up my schedule completely and utterly on Saturday the 22nd because I knew that I wanted to be utterly focused on a digital convention, a digital seminar convention called DC Fandome. It was the first of its kind. It's basically like all of your Comic-Con panels and teasers and all of that, but completely focused on DC products and digital. So they set up a website. In all fairness, they had set up the website and the schedule a couple of days ahead of time, and you were able to go in and basically like kind of set your schedule and put it on your Google Calendar, so it would tell you, hey, there's a thing starting if there was particular things you wanted to watch. Now, mind you, I wanted to watch the whole damn thing, so I didn't set up a schedule. I just sort of like went down and was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. What was a problematic for me anyway was the very first panel was the Wonder Woman 84 panel, which looks like an amazing movie. The Wonder Woman 84 panel started on time, but I was over on this like set up the schedule calendar page trying to figure out how I can watch, like where's the button that says go to the thing, and it just never showed up. I went into a Zoom room by myself, and I almost got all crazy excited. I thought for a second that I had like made it into like some kind of private, Zoom with the actors, and I freaked out a little bit. But then I realized, oh no, I'm just in a Zoom room by myself. But what they didn't say anywhere is that you basically had to shut down that window and go to the DC Fandome dedicated website to be able to watch these seminars and things. So I missed the first like 2 minutes. It wasn't much. I didn't miss anything that was extraordinary, like that made me go, oh, why? I got to hear everybody's opinions on things. The actor who plays Maxwell, what's his name? Maxwell. It's, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Hang on, we're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix this because that's just silly. How can I not? Max. What is his name? I keep on calling him Maxwell Smart, but that's from that silly TV show, the spy TV show a million years ago. Max. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is what happens when you get old. You know what? Never mind. We'll move on, and I'm sure it'll pop into my brain at some point, and I'll go and I'll yell it out. But that actor, the same actor who plays the Mandalorian over on Disney Plus, he always cracks me up. He just seems like a very genuine, funny guy who's really excited, like happy to be part of just this collective fandom. Even if he's playing the bad guy, like he's just like, I am excited to be part of this program. Gal, who plays Wonder Woman herself, she is always just a smiling, first off, she's a gorgeous human being, but she's just always so bubbly and effervescent, and like just seemingly just happy to be alive. Very contagious. Like almost her happiness seems contagious. The highlight of the panel, aside from jokes back and forth and whatnot, but the highlight for the panel, honestly, was Patty Jenkins, the director. First off, mentioning openly that nothing in this movie, nothing in her movie, will invalidate what we already know from BVS. Because there was some worry about that, because some of the things that Batman says in Batman vs. Superman when he starts talking about the other, the other metas, the other supers, is that, you know, she's this mystery. You know, no one knows her, no one's seen her. But obviously, Diana Prince is someone we do know from the movies. You know, so there was some quandary as to whether or not Wonder Woman 84 is going to cause a pretty big hiccup in the overall DCEU sort of timeline, the walking chronology. And that she addressed it even just in passing and said, you know, this is not going to make any kind of mistake. It's not going to make anything else invalid, and it shouldn't feel out of place. So I'm excited. Again, anytime you have a period piece where there's things that have happened before and after in other movies that are in the same universe, they've got to be careful. You know, they've got to be. They've got to make sure that they cross all their T's and dot all their I's, because fans, especially crazy super fans, will find a way. They'll be like, hey, remember that time with that thing and the stuff? Ah! And then they'll rage about it, and then everybody will yell that it's a terrible movie and it doesn't get funding for the next one, and so forth and so on. But one of the things that they did do is they revealed the second full trailer, because it's getting up. Because I want to say that it's either comes out in November, I believe. Either, like, originally it was going to be October, but it pushed back to November. But it's I want to say it's coming out in November, and this is the first time, aside from a couple of glimpses of her as Minerva, as the kind of librarian mousy version of Minerva, and then later on there's kind of like almost a punk rock version where you can tell that she's starting to kind of work into this, you know, this new personality that's inside of her. And then in this trailer is the first time that we get to see the actual fully transformed Cheetah. It's cool. Like, she looks rad. They're doing the full body Cheetah, so head to toe with tail. She's got a very monstrous face, but you can still tell that it's the actress. They also went with unless it was just the lighting on the trailer, they went with a black and white black and white spots. She's like a snow leopard cheetah version. Or it was so, you know, like, her fur is so light compared to the backdrop of fighting in a city. You know, maybe that yellow washes out a little bit. I don't know. Whether or not they did the yellow or if they did the white, I don't know. But either way, I thought it looked pretty rad. I know some people were like, it looks unfinished. It probably is. You know, it's probably still being cleaned up in post. You know, fur has a lot of digital love that needs to get put into it. You know, just ask the people who did Monsters Incorporated. But we'll see. I'm excited, because it is Maxwell Lord. Maxwell Lord, that's his name. I told you, it just popped in my head. That basically there's a double villain. There's Maxwell Lord, who is the kind of the overarching symbol of, you know, 80s greed and power hungry and avarice. And then there's Cheetah, who is the symbol of someone who falls into basically Maxwell's trap, into this kind of honeypot of desires, a very devil's agreement kind of thing, devil's contract. We don't know exactly how it goes, whether they are directly related, whether it's something that maybe Maxwell is setting up specifically to pit against Diana, or if it's happenstance. We don't know. The trailer doesn't show a lot of stuff, which is good. A good trailer gets you excited for the movie, but doesn't show you so much that you feel that you know the movie going into it. I know what's going to happen because I saw this in the trailer. And while they do a good job of confusing things, I actually disagree with trailers that show purposefully altered scenes to throw people off. Marvel did that with not Endgame, but Infinity War. I think it was Infinity War, where they showed Hulk running with. They showed the Hulk running around, fighting alongside his friends, and in the actual movie, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, it wasn't the Hulk. It was Hulk, the Hulkbuster armor with Banner inside, badly animated Banner, I might add. Sorry, I'm gonna today is about talking up DC, not bad mouthing other companies. And I do like Marvel a lot. I don't want people to think that I'm completely trashing on Marvel. I think that they are for the most part, especially the last 5 or 6 movies, have been very cotton candy, empty laughs, dick and fart jokes. Good for their audience, but I prefer a little more intellectual stuff when it comes to comic book movies. Which is not to say that fun movies are bad. I just think that you need to have a good mix instead of having one dominating the other, especially if the plot is going to suffer for it. One of the things that we do get a really good glimpse of in the trailer for Wonder Woman is we get to see her in her. I want to say in the comics it's called her goddess armor, where it's basically she gets the blessings of Zeus, and she basically comes down in actual Olympian armor with golden wings and whatever. Here's a decent picture of her kind of in a mixed, it looks like it's maybe partially the suit, or maybe the suit is in progress, but here's a shot. So that looks pretty rad. That's just one of the poster shots for Wonder Woman 84. I'm excited. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a good movie. I liked the original Wonder Woman. I agree with most people that the third act, the big reveal for Ares and the actual fight against him, I really wish that they would have gotten the guy who played Ares for Zack Snyder when he shot the Battle of the Gods for Justice League, because that guy, you totally keep the actor that they got for the human side of Ares. He does a great job. He's perfectly arms dealery, weaselly. I thought he did a great job of portraying the human side of things. But when it came to the, all right, armor pieces come to me, become the god, that could have been, that absolutely should have been the actual bodybuilder Ares from Zack's Justice League, from the shots of the prehistory battle, because you can only believe this big, tank tread style metal armor is being pushed around by this tiny little face inside. It's the same problem that with the badly animated Bruce Banner in the Hulkbuster suit. It just looks silly, and if it's not well done, if it doesn't look like it's supposed to be together, then close the armor off, because I think Hulkbuster looks great when he's running around just being Hulkbuster. The only time that it looks really stupid is when it showed Banner either inside, or the one time where he had the helmet off and it just looked like a floating face amidst a sea of red, and that was just dumb. That's the problem that Ares has in the original Wonder Woman, is that when he's got the tiny little face inside the helmet, when they bring it in close, you can see inside the helmet, it doesn't look like it fits. He's got a little tiny head around this giant helmet, around this giant body. I think they should just flip the actor. Maybe even have him do the voiceover, whatever. Just flip the actor to the other guy, and move on. Again, probably didn't come into play because that guy got left effectively on the cutting room floor because of Joss Whedon's interference and Warner Brothers and all right. Let's see what was the next big thing, because I'm trying to just kind of cover the things that really jumped out. The two video games that they showed, Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, both look amazing. Gotham Knights is weird because it puts in it's like almost like an Elseworlds story where Batman dies, where Batman is dead, and he basically sends a message out to Tim Drake Robin. So Tim Drake Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, and Jason Todd Red Hood, and is like, Gotham is going to fall apart when people realize I'm dead. I'm going to need your help. And so it's very similar to like the Arkham Horror, the Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight, those games where you're running around being the hero. You got to do these missions and whatnot, and stop go across Gotham and stop the bad guys. It looks very similar to that, except you've got these 4 characters to choose from. And during the trailer, they said, or during the kind of interview release thing, they said that it's going to be a co-op game. So I'm assuming it'll be co-op over internet. Like, you can't have split screen, because split screen in an Arkham game would be, you'd have a very hard time seeing everything, and it's such a graphic intensive game. I'd almost be afraid that my Xbox would explode. But it is definitely a co-op game, because during the actual playthrough preview that they showed, they were showing Batgirl, who looked amazing, riding a motorcycle and swinging from ropes, beating people up with her little tonfa. Looked fantastic. And then in the middle of the playthrough, you could see over the right where it said Robin enters the game, and then there was a Tim Drake Robin just kind of teleports in. So he's doing like these kind of weird kind of shift teleport jump things. It was cool. I don't know if Red Robin can do that, but he can in this, and the effect looks cool, and he joined the game and started fighting alongside of her. It was rad. I liked it. The other one, however, is probably, so Gotham Knights, I want to say they said it was going to be out next year, so 2021. So Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, however, looks amazing, and sadly isn't going to be out until 2022, because there's still a lot going on. But it's another Arkham style game where you've got this big sandbox, and you got to run around and kill little guys, knocking little guys out to try and get to kind of the chapter bosses and stuff. But you're Task Force X of Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, Harley, and King Shark. I'm hoping that maybe there might be some unlockable additional members of the squad, or maybe some cameo appearances where we might get to see some of the other members. That'd be kind of cool. But it's these 4, and Waller has basically said your priority targets are effectively it's the Justice League. And from the preview trailer, we see that Brainiac has taken over Metropolis. It's filled with Brainiac drones. His ship is still flying above the city, and then you see Superman, and he's obviously being Brainiac mind controlled. Like, there's no question there. He's definitely being controlled. I expect, just from a little bit of the dialogue in the trailer, that although the name of the game is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, as in that's the order you've been given, I have a feeling that it's going to turn into, they're going to get into a couple of fights with some Justice League members, incapacitate them, get them to, trap them somehow, and basically Deadshot is going to make the call and go, we shouldn't kill these guys. They're not, they're not they're not they're not in their right mind. They're being controlled by Brainiac, and then the plot will shift, and you've got to basically go after Brainiac. That's what I expect. Just because the Rocksteady games, I can't imagine that they would actually hem themselves into a corner after getting after getting the DC property to actually kill iconic members of the Justice League. So because I bet that if this game goes well, whether or not they do another Suicide Squad game, or if they've already got them animated and everything, doing a Justice League game, man, that could be rad. That could be fantastic. But either way, this game doesn't come out until 2022, so we've got all kinds of time. Let's see what else. We had a really cool panel. I'll go over. Yeah, so real quick. I'm sure you've seen it on social media. The Matt Reeves, the Batman, the standalone, not part of any other franchise or continuity, the standalone year 2 Batman with Robert Pattinson. They put out the trailer for that, and it looks cool. I'm having a hard time getting super excited for it, not because it's Batman, because I actually like Batman, but because it is very similar in feel to like the Nolan Batman, where it's just an angry guy with very little talent. He's just beating people up. Give me Batfleck any day. Give me an angry, jaded, seasoned, well-used fighter with toys. Give me the Batman that fights more than just scumbags. Sorry, my nose is just. Sorry about that. So yeah, it looks cool. I'm definitely gonna go see it. I just think it looks a little too Nolan-esque, a little too much like the let's make Batman as practical, and he's got eyeliner on, and we'll just he's angry and he punches people. I don't know. That's not my Batman. My Batman is a seasoned fighter who's gone up against the League of Assassins before, and has had Robins lost and has got trinkets and toys and bat grapples and all these sorts of things. Either way, again, I'm sure someone would probably be like, Batfleck sucked, because that's everyone's wrong opinion. Sorry, I said I wasn't going to do that. But it's a good trailer. That version of the Riddler, I think, is going to be really cool. Where he's not riddle me this. He's not being comic relief. Where he's doing puzzles and things, and looks like he was killing people with his puzzles. So that should be pretty cool. But of all of the things from that trailer that stand out as holy crap, that's amazing, is you get a very short, very clear shot of Cobblepot, of the Penguin, and the makeup that they have on Colin Farrell to be the Penguin is insane. I had to basically do like a double and triple take and compare pictures, like compare ear sizes and things like that, because there was a part of me that was like, no, that's not him. Like, so the makeup that they've got him to turn him into the Penguin is it's mind-boggling. And there's a part of me, there's that little tiny voice in the back of my head that still says, maybe it's not him. Maybe it's not Colin Farrell. Maybe it is a different actor, and we've all been bamboozled. But either way, that's tight. That makeup job is amazing. Hopefully the role will be written really well and he won't be comic relief. Again, that's where where my Batman draws the line. I don't want him to be so, uh, I'm a vigilante with fists, and I don't want him to be just basically I pummel the darkness, but I don't want him to also be, the Batman and Robin, holy rusted metal, Batman. There's a spot, there's a place in there. And I think again, my favorite Batman is Batfleck, is the Ben Affleck Batman, specifically from Batman versus Superman, and hopefully, when we get the Zack Snyder 4-hour cut of Justice League here next year, that Batman, that Batfleck, that Batman will rise up again and be, that will be the role, because unfortunately Joss Whedon just boned him, just screwed his character over for his version of Justice League, made him a laughing stock, made him stupid, made him not the seasoned, jaded detective. He was just an idiot that made dumb jokes. Again, we've talked about Joss Whedon before, and I'll have to touch on him again here in a little bit, but that's there's that. So there was also the Flash panel for the movie Flash, was excellent. Getting to basically hear from the head of the CW shows, the head of the movie productions, and the head of the comics, all talking about how Flash ties everyone together, that Flash is really the Speed Force and the multiverse is all interconnected through Flash, and that his movie is really the arteries and the veins and the connected tissue between all of these multiverses that are this multiverse, all these different universes of the DCEU collectively. And it was so Walter Hamada and Jim Lee, they basically straight up said that the Flash movie is going to be like kind of the bow that ties a lot of things together that might be a little shaky at the moment because of previous drama and storyboard issues and things like that. What we found out is that not only is Ben Affleck coming back for the reshooting of the Justice League as Batman, but he went ahead and said, yeah, sure, I'll be part of the Flash movie. He's in the Flash movie too. Which, again, because it's getting back to the original vision of what the DCEU was supposed to be, I won't be surprised if we see more Ben Affleck Batman down the road. Because one of the only reasons that he stepped away from the role is because he didn't like how it had been treated in Justice League. He didn't like that that there wasn't, the direction wasn't there. And when he stepped away from the standalone Batman movie, because he was supposed to be the director for that, when he stepped away from that, it didn't make sense for him to keep pushing the role when his vision for the Bat wasn't being followed anyway. Which is why they brought a new guy, stepped in. Now we got this Elseworlds, Matt Reeves version. But now that Zach is back on board and seems to be back as in like the major playing, like back in the storyboarding room and things like that about the DCEU, and the other directors are like, yes, we are on board. It sounds like Ben doesn't mind being back in the suit, so we'll see. But we know that he's going to be there for Flash. We also know that Michael Keaton is going to be playing a Batman in Flash. So the Flash movie, the byline for it is going to be Flashpoint. I don't believe they are going to be doing the actual Flashpoint universe. I would love for them to at least stop by long enough for us to see Robert Dean Morgan, to see him as Thomas Wayne, and the lady who plays Maggie in Walking Dead. Um, she was Martha in BVS in the flashback, and she has also said that she would gladly come back and play the female Joker in Flashpoint, even if we just got like just a glimpse of it. That would be awesome. Like Barry stops by, sees the madness, and is like, okay, I'm out of here. Even if it's just that, I would be down with that. We know that Barry he gets a new suit. Um, that his suit is being designed by Bruce Wayne. So it is going to be more, or not more organic, but more ergonomic fit wise. Not doesn't have quite so many giant angles and like bungee cords holding it together, that kind of thing. It also looks, because there's you know what, here's a shot that they teased for us. They teased it to show, hey, this is the kind of the drawing of what his armor will look like, and it's a very silhouetted drawing, but you get to see it. So here, take a look. So there's even like the like speed force kind of running through it, and Hamada said that one of the things that he is most proud of when it comes to the Flash movie, is the director, who's the guy who did It Part 1 and 2. Um, he loves the idea of how, like, the look and the image of what the Speed Force is in the DCEU. So I'll be interested to see what that, what it looks like, how Barry interacts with it. Um, I'm psyched. I think it's going to be awesome, even if it's just him doing a bunch of time hopping to fix to fix things. If we get a Batman Beyond glimpse, and that's where old Michael Keaton is the Batman, and maybe he meets Terry McGinnis, and we just get like a brief little Shway-ism, I'll be standing up in the seats, just being like, woo, rocking out. We know we're gonna see Ben. Again, I think right now there is so much cool stuff coming down in the next couple of years from the DCEU, that I am going to be such a happy moviegoer. Um, virus or no virus, I will put on a stupid astronaut suit to go see these. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. But the Flash, we don't know about a bad guy. Again, we don't know a lot of what's actually going on with this movie. For all we know, it's just because we know it's a time travel movie, that he's going to do a bunch of time and space hopping through the Speed Force. But we don't know why. We don't know what he's trying to fix, or undo. I have a feeling that we're probably going to get a at least a momentary call back to when he was coming out of like the Speed Force tunnel in the Batcave to talk to Bruce in the previous movies. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, psyched. Good storytelling. Solid actors taking on these roles that want to play these roles. Big thumbs up. Let's see. We'll cover two other real big things. Three. Okay, I could spend an entire hour's episode talking about Zack Snyder's the quote unquote Snyder Cut. I will merely say this: I am so excited. I have been in the release the Snyder Cut camp. Maybe not one of its zealous, if you aren't pro Snyder Cut, you suck, kind of DC fan. But I have always believed that he got done wrong by Warner Brothers, and definitely got done wrong by Joss Whedon, who, it is no secret, although I like some of the stuff that he has done, for the most part I am not a fan of his work. And now that other things have come to light, I don't seem too much of a fan of the person either. Either way, the studio did Zack dirty. I mean, if you aren't aware, the reason why Justice League became such a disjointed mess was because Zack's daughter committed suicide while they were filming, and he could not handle it, which would make perfect sense to me, and he had to step down out of the project. And the studio hired Joss Whedon to step in and finish, and because Joss is Joss, he refused to follow Zack's storyboard, cut out a bunch of things that were very integral to the connective tissues to other movies, to future movies, and reshot the whole thing in his own style. And it's the reason why it feels so screwed up, and why some of the digital imaging is so drastically different than what previous movies had shown for the same characters. But a long, hard-fought fan battle forward, and eventually Warner Brothers and HBO decided that, you know what, this is not only going to be worth the money, but it could be the start of something really awesome. And they gave Zack the green light to go ahead and finish making the movie that he wanted to make, and finish, redoing or patching together the cut that he has, and turn it into the actual Snyder Cut version of Justice League. Seeing the full trailer to that, I know a lot of people have been like, man, he loves that song because he used it in Watchmen. But it is a good cover of that song. And when you're talking about basically a story that is about a living, evil coming to Earth and requiring a pantheon of new gods to rise up and meet it, including kind of the fallen prodigal son needing to return. It makes a lot of sense. There were a lot of scenes in that trailer that were amazing. That the fact that they're there, we know some of the stuff that got taken out of the Justice League version of the movie, and I'm pumped. It looks like we're getting the movie we wanted, so can't wait. It's gonna be 4 hours of Bryan, and expect me to do a giant review. I'm sure I'm gonna do all right, everybody. To quote Samuel L. Jackson in Jurassic Park, hold on to your butts. Let's see what else. There were two other movie panels that jumped out at me as very cool. One was not a panel so much as just sort of a awesome person standing there talking about it, and that was Black Adam. The Black Adam panel was just basically Dwayne Johnson on a green screen talking about how excited he is, the fact that this has been 10 years in the making, when he and his agent and the screenwriters and everything started talking about it. How it is going to tie in to Shazam 2 and potentially other movies, we're not sure, other than the fact that Dwayne was very forthcoming, saying that, now that Black Adam is back, watch out Justice League. That, watch out Superman, watch out Batman, watch out Aquaman, watch out Wonder Woman, I'm coming. So maybe there's something to it that we don't know. Maybe we'll get some cameo stuff. I don't know. But what I do know is that they released who he is up against. Potentially, I'm assuming he's up against them because of the anti-hero aspect of things and who they chose. There's we definitely are getting a Dr. Fate, which we don't know who's playing him yet. We're getting a Hawkman. We are getting Atom Smasher, which we did get to meet the actor who's playing Atom Smasher. Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, and Whirlwind. The Whirlwind. She's basically a wind tornado creation wizard chick, who's very cool. I was excited. She's a kind of a deep cut from the Justice Society. And we didn't get any trailers or anything like that because it's not that far along in the process. But we did get a bunch of really cool like drawings of what a trailer would be if they had made if COVID hadn't stopped them from filming, that kind of thing. Here's a really cool shot of Black Adam. This is just a great picture of him just doing his thing. But there was one shot in the like one of the kind of artists panels that I saw, and I went, oh man, I wonder, is that it looks like Black Adam like electrocuting with his lightning and whatever a bunch of like U.S. desert U.S. Afghanistan army forces, like a bunch of like army soldiers. So I have a sneaking suspicion that either the Justice Society is going to, because Dr. Fate's involved, they're going to either screw something up, time travel is going to go tweak, whatever, something's going to happen, and he's going to be like, for the first part of the movie, we'll see him, get his powers from being a slave to be a ruler to being bound in the rock at Kandak, and then something will happen where he'll break out again, and either the Justice Society in like the 50s or the 60s are going to be fighting him, and I suspect that when he starts to win, like really win, that Dr. Fate is going to have to do something where it's going to be like, throw him into time, like whatever, hurl him through time or whatever, and at some point he's going to wake back up in effectively the current day Middle East, or potentially like the 90s Middle East, well, like during the maybe like a wayward tank blows up the rock at Kandak or something. I don't know. Again, this is all just guesswork. But we know that there will be multiple time periods involved, and at some point, the movie has to bring him up to current speed, to current day, because they made a lot of allusion to him being involved with future Justice League stuff and definitely involved with future Shazam stuff. So, be psyched about that. Speaking of Shazam, we didn't get much about Shazam. It was a funny little panel that they made. They brought like Sinbad on as a joke, and but we did get to find out the actual byline of the new movie Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods. So that's cool. Part of me hopes that it's in relation to Black Adam, but also maybe in relation to the New Gods, because we know that Ava DuVernay, she's doing a New Gods movie, and that's gonna have something to do with Darkseid, which we're gonna see in the Justice League Snyder cut. So again, I don't know. There's a lot. There wasn't a lot of stuff they could tell us, but they did give us the byline, and that was pretty cool. And then, aside from the Snyder Cut stuff, we got a very brief talk about Aquaman 2, where Aquaman 2, James Wan and Patrick, the guy who played Ocean Master, Patrick something, the two of them were talking a lot about Aquaman 2. We know that Orm is in it. And that we know that it is a much more serious tone, that is going to be a much more, not necessarily a darker movie, like a horror movie or anything like that, but it is definitely going to be more about the aftermath of what took place in the first one. I mean, like, the actual kingdoms of Atlantis went to war. There's a lot of dead Atlanteans, and then this half-blood prince, to borrow a Harry Potter term, shows up, saves the day by bringing an apocalyptic monster to this battle and killing a lot more people. I mean, like it's not a pretty scene. I mean, it's pretty, like, physically gorgeous, but it's not a pretty scene when it comes to what happened. And yeah, they capture Orm instead of killing him. Another plus from Marvel movies. You guys need to quit killing your villains. But the fact that he's trapped, the Queen is back. There's a lot going on, and it sounds like it's going to be a much more a darker and more dramatic feel of a comic book movie. It was what James was talking about. But almost in a paradoxical flip of a coin, probably my favorite information that we were given was James Gunn talking about how much he loved putting together the Suicide Squad. It still makes me a little... I understand his reasoning behind it. I really wish they would have called it Suicide Squad 2, because it is going to confuse people, and right now the DCEU needs as little confusion as possible because of all the studio screw-ups in the past. The reason why why he called it the Suicide Squad is because he's hailing back to the original comics, the Ostrander written comics, where every like 3 issues it was a new mission and it was a new team, but it was always still called the Suicide Squad. That it wasn't, you weren't ever like, oh, this is team 2 or team 3 or a continuation necessarily of the last set of books. It was always just, here's this kind of these cool stories about these task forces put together by Amanda Waller and the U.S. government to go out and do these horrible things. And it was always filled with B-grade characters. Every once in a while, it's been a relatively recent thing that they put in, new and fancy, like actual like headliners. More often than not, the Suicide Squad was filled with a kind of B-listers, sometimes even C-listers. Which is why the primary thing that he did in this movie, or in the panel, was he explained that this is more like a Dirty Dozen war movie than it is a comic book movie. The behind the scenes footage that we saw, they're dealing a lot with soldiers, just human soldiers running around. So I'm assuming that it's going to be 1 or 2 teams of Task Force X being sent into kind of a Predator-esque style of jungle or island or whatever to go take care of a bad guy. And although they didn't say this on the panel, there are rumors running around that the big bad of the Suicide Squad movie is actually going to be Starro. Because again, that is an old school, early DC bad guy, an interstellar starfish that controls your mind with little drones. Could be super gnarly. Like, I don't know. I'm sure it would be it might be silly in places, but this is also, Gunn has specifically filled the ranks here with a bunch of characters, and he has said openly that a lot of don't think that these guys are all going to survive. There's going to be some casualties. I'm assuming that there's going to be some casualties via Amanda Waller, pop, and then I'm sure there will probably be some from the danger of the mission. Again, we'll see. But the fact that they are bringing out some very old school crazy characters. So we're getting there's a flashback where Taika Waititi, he is actually playing Ratcatcher 1, who teaches his daughter or niece perhaps how to be Ratcatcher 2. And Ratcatcher 2 is the one that's in the movie, who's in the actual squad. We found out Idris Elba is not playing Vigilante like I thought. He's playing Bloodsport, which is basically a kind of a Vigilante-esque, Deadshot-esque character. So I get it. They wanted Deadshot, but Gunn didn't want to recast him because it is part of the same continuity. So they found another character very similar, and Bloodsport is a character from the DC Comics that has managed to shoot Superman. So maybe that might be a really rad cameo if like when they start going through and talking about these different characters, you know, what got them sent into into the different into Argus. If it shows him shooting Henry Cavill, yeah, that would be rad. I'd be super down with that. There's a couple. So was it Flula Borg? Hilarious actor is playing Javelin Man. Again, some deep cuts. Gunn went into the vaults and found some wacky stuff, and there's two of them that I kind of shake my head like, wow, okay. One is still, we're not 100% sure, but it's almost all of the rumor sites are saying that's what it is. When we were originally told that they were doing that he was doing Suicide Squad, and he had kind of showed here's like my first 5 people who have been cast, and then he had cast somebody as Polka Dot Man. So if you're not familiar, which you probably aren't, Polka Dot Man is from a 60s era Batman villain that basically he wears a jumpsuit, like almost like a painter's overalls with a hood and goggles, and they're covered with different colored polka dots. And his power is that he basically pulls these polka dots off of his suit, and they do things like, you know, a red one might turn into a fireball, or this yellow one might blow up and blind everybody. They're all just weird things. And so when I had heard that Gunn was bringing in some of these crazy cuts of characters, and then when I found that he was doing Polka Dot Man, I was like, all right, he's obviously going to do an updated version. You know, he's going to Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's going to update it. It's not a space guy with a bow. It's a space dude, a space pirate with this cool whistling arrow. It's not the case. The couple of scenes we've seen Polka Dot Man on screen, like in the behind the scenes footage, no joke, overalls, goofy painter's hood, goggles, and there's a couple of shots where it looks like he's throwing things, so he's gonna throw dots. What? I don't get it. It's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited. John Cena, who originally we believed might have been playing God, who was it? I don't remember who he thought he was going to be playing. It has been revealed that he's playing Peacemaker, who, as he's described in the trailer, as basically Captain America, but a douchebag that'll kill you if you don't, you know, one of those stop fighting or I'll shoot you both. That's Peacemaker, and John Cena seems to be completely on board with it. Well, yeah, we have King Shark, and we actually have the version of King Shark that I'm glad we get. For a long time there, King Shark was drawn as a hammerhead, which is cool but seemingly weird. And in the Attack on Arkham Asylum Suicide Squad movie, cartoon movie, they did King Shark as almost kind of like a Killer Croc looking thing, where very humanoid features, not very big. And I did not like that version. They're doing the Great White version. He's a roughly 8 to 10 foot tall Great White running around eating people. There's a scene in the behind the scenes clips where he's shoving a soldier in his mouth. We also know the movie is going to be R. They're doing an R-rated movie because it is going to be gore and curse word filled, very similar to like Birds of Prey, which we saw how well that worked. Gunn said over and over and over again that this may have been his favorite movie ever to work on, and that it definitely has the most visual effects and explosions and interesting on-screen moments that he's ever done. And knowing that he did Guardians 1, Guardians 2, and in theory Guardians 3, and knowing what those movies had, I'm over the moon on what he's put together for this. I'm hoping he doesn't kill off any of the main characters that we like to see again and again and again. Captain Boomerang, Harley, King Shark, only because I love King Shark. But pretty much everyone else is fair game. The poster shows a ton of everybody. I mean, like it's got a giant cast, which is why in a 2 hour movie we're going to see a lot of them die. I'm positive. But here, check out the poster. That's the personality poster. It's rad. I gave you a little extra time to look at it. If you needed to, I'm sure you could have paused and really got into it. Um, James' cousin, Sean. It's either cousin or brother, but I think it's a cousin. Um, Sean Gunn is playing Weasel, who is probably going to steal the show. If all things are considered, he's basically a humanoid-sized marmot. He's all claws and teeth and totally crazy. The actual art that we've seen for him, like the momentary screenshot of him licking the asylum window, he looks like he reminds me of Bill the cat from the Saturday morning cartoon strips. Just crazy. He's going to be insane. But over everything else, I mean, all the rest of the characters could be cool. We'll see where they fall into things. There is one character that here, and we're getting. I know I'm running over on my time, but I'm gonna tell you, Nathan Fillion, who is very good friends with Sean Gunn or with James Gunn, and I assume Sean, and often plays in his movies. Not if he can't be a starring role, he at least jumps in as a goofy moment. For instance, I think was it Nathan Fillion was the Cosmo the barking dog in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I think. Like again, it's just weird. Like okay. And he is playing a character that when we saw the armor originally, saw him walking on set, I thought he was playing Blackguard. But that's actually Pete Davidson's character, an updated version of Blackguard, which is basically just a dude with guns. They announced him as a character named TDK. Now, TDK obviously is an abbreviation, and the first time that you think about that, I was trying to squirrel it out, and so I went ahead online and searched for it. I was like DC Comics TDK, and they're like, oh, that's the abbreviation for the Dark Knight, and I was like, oh, well, obviously he's not the Dark Knight, duh. And then they released his icon picture, and it's his head, and it says TDK across the face, and it's crossed arms, except right here on both arms, it looks like they have been plucked off. Like you can see like a little bone and like muscle, not ripped off, not like it's like not a bloody mangled mess, just kind of a little clean little. And someone found a deep cut called. I had to look the guy up because I couldn't even remember him, and I'm a DC fanboy. His name is Arm Fall Off Boy. Yep, that's right. Welcome to the 60s of DC. Arm Fall Off Boy, his weird mutant ability, is that he could basically pull on his arms and they'd pop off, and then he would use them like weapons. Like he would use them as clubs. Well, one at a time, obviously. Or he could use them to, like if someone, had him in handcuffs, he was like, ha! He pops his arm off and goes, ah, and runs away. I mean, it's crazy. It's basically like a gecko lizard shedding its tail, except he can do it with his arms. Someone saw that picture, and apparently it has been leaked that TDK, again, could be rumor, but this follows suit with Gunn's weirdness, that Arm Dismemberment Kid, Arm Fall Off Boy, is being updated to the Dismemberment Kid. We'll see. If that's the case, I guarantee it's going to be a hilarious moment, and I also guarantee that he will probably not live long in the movie. But yeah, that was it was them joking around. They played a little trivia game, but they were laughing back and forth and just having a great time, and that it just really showed that kind of, I love when a cast has camaraderie and you can tell that they want to be with each other, and you know that there's on-set fun. And that was like the original Suicide Squad. They all got their tattoos. They all got tattoos. They all got squad tattoos. Margot Robbie tattooed a bunch of people specifically with squad tattoos. That's awesome. I love that kind of when the cast not only gets along, but they're a family. And this was a huge panel of all of these actors, and they're laughing and they're making fun of Michael Rooker, and Rooker's laughing back, and they had a great time, and you could tell that they had a ton of fun on set, and that they made the movie they wanted to make. And specifically, you can tell that James Gunn made the movie he wanted to make. And so I am super pumped. Probably only more pumped for Justice League Snyder Cut, as far as like what we were teased and what we were shown. Suicide Squad is going to be amazing. Mark my words. All right. Well, I've gone over. I did what I said I was going to do. I wowed about the DC Fandome because that was my thing. Also, as a side note, apparently it did so well as far as like views and information and retweeting and all that stuff. It did so well. They're doing another one that is specifically, I don't know if it's going to be just like a replay of a few things or if it's going to be new panels or whatever. On September 12th, they're actually doing one called DC Fandome Explore the Multiverse. So we'll see if it's just more of the same, like almost like an encore presentation, or if it's actually new stuff. Either way, I'm super psyched and you should check it out. If you're a DC fan like me, definitely should check it out. If you're not, maybe give it a taste test. See what's up. You know how it is. I just, at this point is when I normally tell you guys to go out there, be safe, have fun. In this case, go out there, be safe, have fun, read some comics, watch some cool comic movies, but above all other things, as I've said a million times before, go play some games. We'll see you next week.